I'm really happy to kick it off, and pretty much before actually starting with the very first question, let me just mainly introduce the topic of this webinar. As I said before, Philipp will be sharing a little bit more about their fast growth with Make, and how Make help them to scale and progress. I'm Thomas Hons. I'm a strategy and operations manager here at Make. And before actually going into the first question, I also ask Philipp to give a short intro about himself, and then we can kick it off. So yeah, Philipp, welcome. It's amazing to have you here, and kick us off with a little bit of intro from you.
Okay, no worries. So yeah, thanks for having me. My name is Philipp Weidenbach. I'm 31 and head of operations at TeleClinic. TeleClinic is probably not known by everyone. It's a company only operating in Germany, and we're actually building a telemedicine platform in Germany. So you could imagine this platform somehow like a little bit like Uber. So, but instead of getting picked up by a driver, you can speak with a doctor on demand and online. So you can download the TeleClinic app, fill out a questionnaire, and really describe your medical issue that you have. You can upload pictures, you can upload documents, and then we'll then display your request to hundreds of doctors in Germany. And those doctors can then treat you via a video call. They can issue a sick note or a prescription, which you can then redeem via the TeleClinic app in thousands of pharmacies in Germany, or even get the medication delivered to you. And yeah, maybe just a few words. We were founded in 2015 in Germany, and while we really had a slow start, mostly due to like really complex regulations in the German healthcare market, we really scaled and grew during the Corona pandemic. And I mean, during this phase, everybody understands why video consultations are or should be part of the normal way of a doctor to treat you. So there will be always like an analog way, but also a digital way. And we really jumped onto this market opportunity, and are now leading in the German market.
Awesome. Philipp, you've said a lot, I think, about TeleClinic and about the amazing story, and give us a little bit more about yourself. Share a little bit the details. I know you personally. We met already a couple of times before, but maybe the attendees would like to know a little bit more about the beautiful face on the camera. So yeah, please.
I'm getting red. Okay. At TeleClinic, I'm head of operations. And what does it mean? So I'm responsible with my team for really make our operations scalable and cost efficient. And for a digital product, it somehow sounds like not too fancy or like not too complex, but it's actually not the case. So in the healthcare market, there's not really the opportunity for somebody to extract a lot of margin. So we have to really have a big platform with a lot of transactions on the platform, and also with a really we are really sensitive to costs. So everything to operations must be really flawless and cost efficient. And we have a big team there supporting our doctors and also on the patients to be successful on the platform, with like really a customer success team, but also support team. And then we also have developers who somehow build products and software for operations, and who build the matching logic, like which doctor should see which patient, and how the operations in the whole platform should work.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Philipp. I think we will, after this short intro, we will, I'm sure you will tell a little bit more about your story and about everything that is happening in TeleClinic a little bit more. But just to quickly bring everybody on the same page, and before we dive deeper into the use cases and challenges of TeleClinic and how Make helps them, I would like to also just introduce slightly into today's topic, right? And then today we are here because we would like to learn more from you and how Make helped you to scale and impact your organization through fast, innovation and automation. And just would like to highlight for someone probably who's not familiar with Make that, Make is a no-code innovation and agility tool that helps you automate and integrate anything within minutes rather than hours. So it's very playful and very easy to use. However, in the same time, very powerful. So you can, automate simple point-to-point solutions, but also very complex entire end-to-end processes. And besides Philipp and TeleClinic, we already have customers across the entire, spectrum, from Finn, who is a car subscription company from Munich, to, for example, larger enterprises of, British American Tobacco or SoftBank or Biostorf or Carl Zeiss, to another similar type of companies like Philipp is, right? So those fast scaling startup scale-ups like Webflow, JellySmack, PayFit, and others that are already gaining a momentum because of Make and thanks to Make. So how did it all begin at TeleClinic, Philipp? Maybe tell us a little bit more how you started your automation journey, and really looking forward to hear more on that.
Okay, so we started using Make in 2020, so it was really in the phase of our hyper growth. So what does I mean there, or what do I mean there? We really grew, I don't know, 20% week over week, and but our software wasn't really made for this growth because we were coming from some kind of plateau phase after the foundation, and then suddenly the transactions picked up, and we had a lot of developers and like product facing or like people working on product, but they were really working and focusing on customer facing products, because we have some customer facing products which are like a native mobile app for iOS and also for Android, and also software for doctors. And at the same time, we never had to think about really scalable operations. So we had a lot of manual touch points or like small flaws in operation design that really always involved persons. And while this was fine, totally fine in the beginning, it didn't make any sense while scaling, because for every patient coming on a platform, we had another touch point with those patients or another work to do after this, which didn't make any sense. And I by myself always asked the other teams, hey, please support us and like help us to build more scalable operations. But they said, hey, we are busy fixing our own stuff. We have to like maintain like really a scalable infrastructure and make all the transactions even like possible on a platform. And there we really noticed, okay, we need a tool, or we need something that enables the operations team by themselves, without staffing the team with developers, because they were, as always, hard to get and also quite expensive at this time. So yeah, we really tried to enable the team, and therefore looked for automation solutions on the market. And of course, there are some platforms, and at this time we tested a few of them, and finally decided for Make them, which were at this time called Integromat. But it's still, I think, one of the best decisions that we made. Yeah.
Excellent, really interesting. Can you maybe tell our guests like what were the other solutions that you were testing, or what was maybe the key kind of points or decision points that during your process that actually made the final call in favor of Integromat back then, now Make?
I mean, we tested probably all big competitors, I would say. In the end, we really had like two main tests in the end. It was Zapier and also Integromat at this time, to Make now. And we were looking for first a GDPR compliant alternative, which was quite important at this time, or it's still important for a healthcare platform and also for a European one for sure. And then, I mean, we put on different users on the platform, and it was quite easy to see that the interface of Make is probably easier to understand, also for people without a tech background. But then we also made different tests, like testing the SLAs, because we knew, okay, we will definitely have issues there, because nobody was enabled in our company themselves doing something like this. So nobody had experience in using such a platform. So we thought, okay, we really need to, probably will need support from the company, like from the provider himself. And so we tested SLAs, and I think Make was really the fastest in responding there. So we made the decision. And then from our network, you mentioned Finn as well. So they are also in our Munich network. So TeleClinic was also founded in Munich, and they also recommended us Make at this time. I think they were already successful on the platform.
Amazing. I mean, you've been talking a lot about let's say the challenges and also the overall situation in the company that you've been thinking about starting using an automation tool when during this hyper growth moment, and obviously that has been one of the kind of key initiators. However, I would like to maybe go a little bit deeper and ask you like how exactly you were let's say changing the mindset of people at your company to really start using a tool like Make. Because what I'm trying to get here is pretty much that we've seen with some of our other competitors or successful not our competitors, but some of our other successful customers like yourself, that they really started to gain the most value from Make once they were able to do this cultural shift, right? And what I mean the cultural shift is that they changed something in the DNA of the company and in the DNA of their employees to really drive innovation and scalability. So I wanted to ask you as well, like how was it at TeleClinic? How was it with you and your team or anyone at your company from the leadership that you actually have to kind of convince that, hey, this is the way to go?
Yeah. So actually it was probably we had an easy start there, because leadership really is always into empowering teams and like really giving ownership to teams. But at this time, as I described, we weren't really owner of our success, because we were always we always had to rely on other teams developing like product or software improvements for us. So we always had to ask the product manager, hey, please, could you sneak in this ticket for us? We really have to change something here. Otherwise we can't, I don't know, manage this and that process. So we were not really owner of our success, and we were also not really empowered. So there were two alternatives probably to give more empowerment to the team. And it was really, do we hire now like a developer team, or how do we empower people? And so I would say like really empowerment and ownership was really the key cultural change that was coming with Make, because people really started to challenge their like workflows and processes and started thinking like, why am I actually doing this manually? And like, isn't there an easy way, a quick way to automate this process? And then also really own this topic. And so I would say like empowerment and ownership really is the big changes coming from such a tool, because people who are not really enabled are then enabled to do their own stuff and really bring change to their own processes and things their own.
Amazing. I'm now really triggered into start going into more details and make it more real for people that kind of imagining, okay, so what actually you can do with Make, right? So we've heard all like how it started, how it all began. It's your situation. Maybe if you can now give us a little bit more details into some specific use cases or processes or workflows that you can share with us. Pretty much, I think it's always good to put it in the real world examples and see the impact of Make in real time.
Yeah. So probably like one plastic example or something that you could imagine is I was talking about prescriptions, like prescriptions are issued on our platform. So after a doctor visit, they say, you need this and that prescription with you need this and that medication. Here's a prescription. Please redeem it at a local pharmacy, for example. But this redemption process is really difficult because unlike with a paper prescription that can only be redeemed once at the local pharmacy, we can't just send this prescription to the mobile app of our customers, because then they would be able to redeem it as often as they want. So we had quite a difficult process there, how to redeem the prescription at every local pharmacy in Germany. And this process really contained calling a pharmacy, asking them, hey, do you want to redeem this prescription? So after onboarding, send the login to a portal for this prescription to the pharmacy. And while this was doable with just a few treatments and just a few prescriptions, during hypergrowth, we suddenly had thousands of treatments a day and thousands of prescriptions a day. So obviously not really a scalable solution to call every pharmacy, onboard them, and then send a prescription. And so that was really one of the biggest issues on my mind. I really remember sitting there forecasting for the next year how many people we need for certain processes in our operations team, and I was sitting there okay, if we don't do anything at the end of the year, we nearly have 30, 35, 40 people sitting there and redeeming prescriptions in local pharmacies the whole day. And as I said, it's not really a industry with a lot of margin, so that's obviously not working on the cost side as well, and on the hiring side as well. So this was really one of the first use cases that we then started to automate, and we used low-code tools like Local's load database, our contact center, Zendesk, and also Make to really automate this process then. And right now, there's nobody really doing it. This is completely automated. But at the end of this year, that we have forecasted, okay, I need 38 people. We had only 4 people sitting there doing it. And now it's just part of the customer support, and one of 1,000 tickets need to be touched manually. The rest is completely automated with Make.
That's amazing. Yeah. I mean, whenever I hear this story, I remember for the first time I was pretty much just lost my words pretty much, and I can imagine that a similar issue can arise in any type of business and any type of situation, right? So yeah, this is just amazing. And I was actually
also one funny anecdote.
Yeah.
I was talking to our account executive at Make, and he was asking me what do you think? How many do we save you? And I was just really thinking on this one automation. It's really one of 600 automations that we have, or 1,000. And I was I think it's worth it.
Yeah. No, I think it's actually I wanted to ask you a little bit more detail. What do you see as can you quantify or qualify the real impact of, for example, this use case that you were just describing of this pharmacy support and redeeming coupons with Make? Can you quantify what it actually means?
The easy math of saving those people probably is I don't know, 40,000 euros a year multiplied by 30. So it's quite big. Nevertheless, I mean, for this cost block, we would somehow find a different solution as well, like automated with our development team. But this is always prioritization. So we really have to think that our developers should really focus on customer-facing products, because that's where they add most of the value. So I definitely can say that it's worth the money.
Yeah,
I also don't want to say it's worth too much, otherwise you're rising the prices.
Yeah, I'm not gonna reveal the pricing for the platform. But just by doing the simple math, that's pretty impressive, right? So if we think about it, it's almost more than 1 million in cost savings, right? So that's I think that's the story for itself. But as you are the head of operations, I'm sure that your team that is now. Do you know how many people actually are working with automations at TeleClinic right now?
So yeah, I mean, we started only in our mission, or like in our team.
Yeah.
It's called Mission at Our Place.
Yeah.
And I would say currently there are around about 10 people who are really enabled, like who can do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Then I would say there are 4 to 5 expert level, and then there are 5 other people who could like change easy stuff in our automations. And we were really the core team using Make, but now it's spreading to other missions as well. And we somehow enable certain people in the other teams as well. But if they need support, they always come to our mission, and we as experts support them in maintaining or building stuff there.
Yeah, makes sense. And can you maybe give us another example of Make and some other use cases at TeleClinic? Because I mean, I'm sure that there's much more to it than just this pharmacy support use case.
There really is. I mean, I forgot to count how many like active scenarios we have, but I think it's it should be like a few hundreds. So I would cluster it somehow. So we are using like a lot to connect different tools on the operation side. So this is stuff that we have to set up once, and then of course we maybe have to maintain or update it or make it more cost efficient. But it's like operational stuff. But we also use Make for stuff where we have to be really agile. Like, as I said, we are in a really complex regulatory environment. And it's so complex, it's really crazy. Like, we have 16 states in Germany, and there are 17 ways to calculate how much a doctor earns every quarter. But those rules change, but they don't change Germany-wide, they change statewide. And they also change for different specialties that the doctor can have. So if you would need to maintain this logic in like a software product that you really build with developers, they would sit the whole quarter there and try to adapt changes, and then they would have this deployment process, and then something would change again. So it can't even be maintained, I would say, in a normal product. And so a lot of stuff with business logic or where regulatory changes are made, that's the stuff that we are building in Make now, because it's really like the experts really knowing the billing part, they can maintain it on themselves. They don't need to write specs for developers and then something goes wrong, but they can really update scenarios on their own. I mean, some other examples is really this calculation of how much the doctor earns per treatment. That's really like one of the most complex stuff. So I would say usually there's 1 to 2 persons in a local practice doing this, and we're doing it for a few hundred or 1,000 doctors within Make.
Yeah, that's excellent. So you said pretty much anything from like just general operations to customer support to finance, pretty much anything.
Pretty much anything, yeah. And then also, I mean, what's also exciting is that we are prototyping stuff.
Okay,
that's the news. That's really the new thing that we are doing. Is we are thinking, okay, let's test something, and then we don't have to like start developing it with our developer resources, but we can already test it on with Make, and then if we see it's successful, and after a few iterations, we bring the stuff back to the product. If it's then, I don't know, should be owned by the developers anyway afterwards.
Yeah, that's interesting. Actually, when you talking about prototyping and innovating, like how, or let's say, have you faced any challenges with Make in this quite highly regulatory environment? I mean, you've been talking quite a bit about the healthcare industry. It's quite highly regulated. So yeah, can you think of any challenges in the within the regulatory kind of scheme of things with Make?
Yeah, so I mean, as a healthcare provider, as I said, it's really important for us to be GDPR compliant, and that's the reason why we have, or not, it's not a challenge, but we have to keep in mind what we bring into third-party products. So we always try to work with IDs there and not with like real user data, for example. There we are to make this possible. We are often building like APIs into our product that we then use with Make. So we then don't really have to like give access to databases, but can only crawl this data via an API.
Great. No, I mean, so far I'm only hearing positives, but you know, there are always two sides of the coin of every story. So I'm sure you've also, let's say, faced some challenges during your journey, you know, during your automation journey, during your journey with Meg. So yeah, can you maybe also share with us some of these challenges or obstacles that you had to overcome during that?
For sure. I mean, so challenges in the beginning were really how to bring a lot of people up to speed quite quick. So when we started, there wasn't a Make Academy. I think it's online now. So we somehow autodidactically have to like learn everything on our own, and we were like sitting there watching YouTube tutorials and trying to bring everybody on the same knowledge. And we definitely had some moments where we spent a few operations without or like just because we built stuff wrong. But I think with Make Academy, this is now a little bit different. Now it's more the skill, like how do you I mean, there's tech debt, which is obviously building in every tech teams or like code base. And of course, there can be the same problem on the Make side as well. So you're building scenarios and you have to maintain them. And you have to be sure that they are up to date. And while growing the list of scenarios, somebody has to feel responsible there. So this was definitely a challenge in the beginning. Like, how do we keep people not only building, but also maintaining and also closing scenarios that we don't need anymore. So one thing that we really did there was increasing transparency, how much we spend on each scenario. So, we have a dashboard that every Make user can see, where you see, okay, I'm owning this and that scenario, it's spending that and that money per month. Am I still need it? Or if you see there's a really expensive one, let's get it and see if we can build it in a smarter way. So this is something we're looking at. And then, so tech debt is definitely one. And then it was also not too easy to, like convince our developers that this is the right way to go, because you somehow touch their territory there, because enable teams doing stuff that they usually do. And there is a reason, there's also a reason for development processes, like why you have code reviews, why you have tests, and why you really make sure that everything is error prone there. So this was quite a discussion in the beginning, but I think we now have a good system there. Like we have clear rules what we want to build into in our own product, and we have clear rules what we want to build and Make, and we try to keep security high, so that's important for developers. And then also work together with them and say, okay, let's build this part in Make, but the rest of the product, for example, in the product, and only use an API to communicate there. So I would say getting the buy-in of all stakeholders and not only of the operations team was a challenge as well.
Yeah, I mean, interestingly, you're talking about developers because we're pretty much making their life easier, right? So we're not coming with more requests to the team and screaming at them like, why this is not done yet? And because now we actually have a tool that, you know, anyone with certain business logic can use. But actually, because I've also heard that some developers really like Make, and working with Make, it actually helps them to, you know, innovate faster, you know, build new applications, and create kind of this new innovative environment to them. Do you have any direct feedback from them, or has any of your developers in the company used Make?
Yes, they have, or they started using it as well. They started to maintain or support operations people when they really like face more complex stuff. So there's this APP module where you can access like every REST API. So if there's a problem with anything, they support us. But I really remember that it changed when they saw it for the first time. So we were in the beginning only talking about it. Hey, there's this new tool that we're using and automating stuff and connecting APIs. And they were like, whoa, 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 what are you talking about? Just after like really sitting down with them and showing them the interface and like having them play around with it, they started to understand how it really enables us. Yeah. So I would say that's really the way to go. Like, start the discussion with them early, show them the tool, make them play around, and then set clear rules in the company where to use it and how to use it.
Yeah, and that brings me to one more thing. If you had a magic wand, would there be anything that you would kind of wish for? If you now talk to the VP of product at Make and he can, change his product roadmap, and is there something that you would kind of ask for?
So there's one thing that we are currently struggling a little bit with, and this would be we really want to have the highest security level that is possible, and I think Make is a lot of stuff there, but there could be, for example, like key management. Or improve key management, where we would somehow save the key in our own backend to like access APIs or webhooks, and that Make would look at this key there and have it saved on the APIs per default. Because it is difficult with a lot of individuals to set a clear set of rules without having any like system support like forcing those rules. We don't want to have any webhook without a key, for example, or any API without a key, and we just want to make sure that people like really use the security features that are there. But we have to talk a lot with our people there, and it would be nice to have some kind of setting and Make there is no webhook without a key, for example.
Well, I will definitely take this wish and tell our Darren Patterson, our VP of product, that Philip it's one of our best customers is asking for it. I'm sure he will hear you out. And I also saw a quick snapshot of a future roadmap, and we are working on different manageability and security features that could definitely help your these kind of automation mature teams like yourself to really ensure this kind of high security and compliance stuff. So
and I'm sure like the last time we talked about something like this was two-factor authentication, and I think after 1 month after the discussion started, it was there.
So anyone that will call, just wish for something like Philip, and you will make it happen. No, amazing. Thank you so much for all of these very, very interesting answers. I actually have a couple of questions from the audience just to finish off with. But yeah, or Philip, before I dive deeper into the Q&A, anything on your side that you would like to add?
I mean, honest feedback. Like, we are really happy with Make. We are happy with the people that we are talking to, our account executives, the support team. And so when I would now switch position to another firm, to another company, and they wouldn't have such a tool, I'm quite sure I would take it with me. So I think it's like a skill or product that has some like viral features included, because it's such just nice to use.
I still remember one quote from you, which was, "It's hard not to become a fan," and I really like it. Awesome. So yeah, I have several questions that from audience to maybe ask you, and I will just read it out, and then you can feel free to answer it however you want. But the first one is, how did you train your people? I know you've been talking a lot about enablement in the beginning. Any best practices that you can share with us around training?
Yeah. So when we have now new starters that need to be enabled on Make, we really send them to the Make Academy first. I know that there's more content coming. I probably got early access to some other content that you're sharing with partners. So we really use this content to train people, and then we're doing a lot of like pair automating, so like pair coding, where the expert is sitting together with newbie, and they're sharing like I don't know, like a video call or sitting together, and like discuss easy to complex problems and try to work on them. And then, I mean, in our company culture, it's easy to talk to somebody and you don't feel stupid. So I think it's just an open culture where people come and ask, hey, could you please support me this automation? And I think learning by doing is really the way to go here.
Okay, that's amazing. And kind of connected question to it, when you are actually recruiting to your team, is there any specific skill set that you're looking at, or a specific type of person or people to join? I know that, for example, from other companies like JellySmack, they actually have a team of automation experts that are usually former coders or developers. However, doesn't have to be, right? So maybe you have a specific type of person that is or not technical at all. So yeah, feel free to share.
So we didn't hire anybody who really did something like this in like before. So I thought about hiring an automation engineer who would really have like a technical background, but then I like also reflected on myself not having any technical background. So I studied business and chemistry. There was no API in my knowledge until I started at TeleClinic. So I would say it's not really needed. I think you need some kind of openness to new stuff, and like have this hands-on mentality that you like do something, learn from it, iterate on it, get better on it. So I don't think that you really need a tech background at all. And obviously it makes you faster, or probably it makes you faster in learning, and it probably makes you faster in understanding the architecture that is like would be the best architecture for your problem. But it's nothing that is must be there. I would say it's a nice to have, but not a must. Yeah,
amazing. Maybe another question from the audience. Have you built everything in-house, or do you need any outside supports, and do you have anyone managing your automations outside of TeleClinic?
So we actually built everything on our own. There's nobody that supported us. But when we started, there wasn't this make platform, so it was Integromat, and I somehow felt more like a do-it-yourself product. We didn't know that there are partners who could support us, and we also didn't ask for it, to be honest. So if I would now kickstart it on a different company, I would probably invite somebody like starting the project with us. Just get up to, or like depends how much pressure you have. Like if you have time to work everything out on your own, that's I think a valuable way to go. But if you feel like no, we must be really on a high level within a short amount of time, it probably makes sense to get support there. But I would definitely keep the ownership for the stuff that you're building, because otherwise you get in some kind of you're losing this feature of empowerment if you make somebody else own it. So I would definitely say build it on your own and keep ownership on the stuff that you're doing there.
Amazing. Yeah, it's a really good point. Really good point. I like it. Actually, there was one thing you were mentioning and talking about, the kind of access management, access control of some of your team members. Everybody having kind of overview of the scenarios. Do you have a way how to control what people can do and cannot do at Make or with Make?
There we probably have not the best setup, I would say. So we have some rules, but it's just rules that we made on our own. So there might be even features that we don't know that would allow us to manage their more control. So what we are doing, we have one organization instance, and then we have different teams and then you can access just automation from these teams. But I'm not sure if there's even more, or there could be even more granularity.
Mm-hmm. Great, but no kind of internal processes or anything around it. No.
Not really, no.
Okay, cool. And one last question. It's kind of connected to the topic that we were discussing in the beginning. And did you feel any resistance or kind of, you know, how to phrase it? Yeah, resistance from employees or from anyone in the company, like, nah, I'm actually good and I don't want to use it, or something, you know, around this way?
Not at all, but it is probably like about the people that you have in your team. But the people that we have in our team are really, like, we have a complex problem to solve and everybody wants solving it. And if everybody takes every tool that they can use to make things happen. So there was no resistance at all.
Amazing. So no resistance to automation, or, you know, robots will, you know, substitute mankind, nothing like that.
I mean, the team was sitting there and doing overhours. They were just happy that there's finally somebody who's doing this annoying job for them, and they don't have to do it on their own anymore. So, yeah.
Amazing, amazing. I think that's it actually from the question side. So I will be checking the chat and the Q&A if something pops up, but so far it doesn't look like it. And first and foremost, Philipp, thank you so much for, you know, taking the time in your busy day. I hope there's an automation running in the background that can actually do the work instead of these 45 minutes that you spent with us. And no, really, jokes aside, thank you so much. It was a pleasure and amazing time